Hi, today I'm joined here with Melissa Albert, who is the author of The Hazelwood, and Elizabeth Klehfoth, the author of All These Beautiful Strangers. I've got some questions just to ask you about both of your new releases. So the first one I'm going to ask you is just if you could give a brief synopsis of both of your books, just really brief. You can keep it to like, I don't know, a minimum words just to try and get people to catch on.
Okay, so All These Beautiful Strangers is a dark, twisty thriller about a family with a lot of secrets.
Okay, The Hazelwood is it's like fairy tale noir is the genre that I call it, and it is about a dangerous book and a fairy tale world and a girl in search of her mother.
You both have very strong female protagonists, so I just want you to give like a bit of a description behind them. If you can just describe your main female like protagonist.
I'll let you go first.
Sure. So Charlie Calloway is my female protagonist. She's 17 years old, and she comes from a very wealthy, privileged family. And she's kind of rough around the edges. I've heard some people call her unlikable, but I don't think she's unlikable. I think, she's carrying around maybe a trauma from her past that kind of gives her rough edges.
Alice is a girl who has one person in her life, and that's her mother, Ella. And they've always her life has been spent sort of in an itinerant existence. They're always traveling together on the road, and they're always kind of one step ahead of these like bad luck occurrences that kind of seem to chase them everywhere they go. She is a very closed off person. She only has her mother. She doesn't really trust anyone else. And just by nature, she's kind of like an angry, harder type person. And she was a lot of fun to write because I'm pretty nice. So, and I've heard her called unlikable as well. But first off, I like her. And secondly, I think that unlikable people have stories worth telling.
Both of their mothers, both of the protagonist mothers disappear, and you both like delved into the idea of them finding their mothers. Why did you like delve into this idea? Why did you like go into this mother-daughter relationship? Was there any like reason behind it?
Well, for me, I think the story was very much a coming of age story, and I feel like in order to do that, like taking away the parents forces the protagonist to kind of grow up. So when she's going on this quest to find her mother, she's also kind of on a quest to find herself and figure out what type of person she wants to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my heroine, we were talking about this before, in fairy tales, there's like these kind of twisted mother-daughter relationships are often at the heart of a fairy tale, and I wanted to write a sort of fairy tale inspired book with a really beautiful mother-daughter relationship at its core.
Yeah.
And again, in YA, I love YA, and I really love YA books with really present parents, where the teen characters actually have to work around like rules and things, but I also do love a book that throws its teen protagonist into a world where they're navigating suddenly, maybe for the first time on their own, and that's my heroine.
I've just got one for you, Melissa, and it's about, because you picked fairy tales as like obviously your main, you did a whole story about a twist on a fairy tale. Is there a reason behind this? Is fairy tales like something you're massively into? And also, could you name your favorite fairy tale?
Yes, I love fairy tales. I love fairy tales. And when I was younger, I just read all the classics. I read like Andrew Lang's colored fairy books. I read The 1001 Nights. I read obviously all the Grimm brothers. Yeah. And now that I'm older, I really love kind of retold fairy tales, feminist fairy tales, stories that kind of investigate the tropes and twist them, and I have just some that I love. But I'm going to go, to answer your question, I'll go back to my favorite classic tale. I think I would have to say The 12 Dancing Princesses, because I don't know if you're familiar with that one, so it's 12 sisters, and every night they dance through their shoes, and in the morning they're like torn to tatters, and the king is like, my shoe bill is really high, I'm going to have these men come in and try to figure out where my daughters are going at night, what's happening with their shoes, and then whoever figures it out gets to marry one of them. And it turns out that every night they're like sneaking through a door in their bedroom into like this subterranean kingdom where they dance all night with these princes and like shred their shoes. So essentially it's like a Grimm Brothers tale that's also a portal fantasy, so it's like everything I love in one story.
That sounds really good.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm going to read it. And then as far as retellings go, I just have to pitch recommend a couple of retellings. Boy Snowbird is an amazing retelling of Snow White by Helen Oyeyemi, and Deathless is a retelling of Koshai the Deathless by Catherine Valenti, and those are two of my favorites.
Elizabeth, so yours is all about thriller. Really did delve into like that thriller, and is there a reason behind that? Again, is it like your favorite type of genre?
Yeah, so I think I always want to write the books that I like to read, and so thriller is my favorite genre, and I was reading, E. Lockhart's We Were Liars and Karen McManus's One of Us is Lying, and since that's what I really love, that's kind of what came out when I sat down to write a book.
I have a question. I don't know if this is right. So both of your book covers are like really pretty, and obviously
lucky.
whole experience. Like, did you get to like to help design, and did you always have like from the beginning when you were writing, did you always have like an idea in your mind of what you wanted your book to look like, and has that like changed over the time that you've been?
Well, this is my UK cover. So my initial cover is in the US, and it's kind of this cool, funky, detailed. I feel like it's like a mix of the classic and new elements, kind of. It like looks classic, but it has contemporary elements in it. And then the British cover ended up to me kind of highlighting the thriller aspects of it more. Like when I saw this, the color palette is so gorgeous, and kind of the way the title is coming out of the leaves, I feel like it feels like more of a thriller. So I thought it was very interesting to see kind of two takes on it that highlighted two of the different pillars of the book. Yeah. And no, I had no input because I'm not good at that stuff. Okay. Luckily, I work with good professionals.
Yeah. I had a little bit of input on mine. My publisher like sent me a couple pictures, and I get to choose which one I like the most. But all the cool things about the UK design were all from my publisher here. So like the raised dots, like it's been fished out of a lake, and the I know on the spine, those were all added in, and I love them. I think they're great additions.
They're both really pretty. Yeah. They both stand out as well. I think when you're like in a bookstore and you see them, when they definitely stand out. I have another question that's just probably a bit different. It's just about, do you have any like tips for aspiring authors? Because I know that a lot of my like viewers and my followers and myself are aspiring to be like young adult authors. So just if you have any tips on like maybe your top tip for someone who wants to publish a YA book.
We kind of keep talking about this. The most important thing to do is like embrace the suck. Like, talking about shitty first drafts, which is a wonderful essay that you have to read by Anne Lamott. But also, like, if your writing that's not good brings you down, like, you don't have to reread everything you draft. You can just, like, read and practice and enjoy writing without, like, it having to be good. I guess it's so hard to get beyond the part where you want it to be good right away. But once you do, like, it will set you free.
I feel like it's very common to like, I know when I write, I'm always like reading it, I'm like nope, and I just shove it to the side, start on something else. I've never like fully finished anything, but
it took me until this book to finish something.
Really?
Same. This is my first finished manuscript. A lot of failed first drafts for sure.
Or not failed, just like unfinished.
Maybe I'll go back to them.
Laini Taylor has this amazing exercise. I don't know if you guys are a fan of. I love Laini Taylor. It's called Attic Notebook, and it's like it's so inspiring for when you're not working on a project or if you're discouraged by the current project you're working on. What she does is she'll sit down and you just like write. Then you turn the page and you never read it again, and you do that every day, and you just like write whatever's like fascinating you at the time. And then in like 6 months time, when you go back and look over it, it feels like something you found in an attic, because you'll have all these like funny ideas and thoughts in it that you like never remembered having. So it's like a gift you give to yourself of all these like cool fictional ideas.
I like that.
And I found it inspiring when I'm stuck between projects.
I have one last question, and it's if you could describe your book in 3 words. You can have like a few minutes to like decide, just like 3 words on what you would describe your book as.
Twisty, dark thriller.
And I'm going to go back to fairy tale noir.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So good to chat with you.
I'm going to leave all the links to the books down below, so make sure you go and pick up a copy. They're all in local bookstores and online. And bye. Bye.
That was lovely. Thanks so much for
sharing. Thank you.
That was fun.